Fellow Toastmasters and honest guests, when I was a young boy, I was a big Yankee fan. My big idol was Mickey Mantle. But who I admired the most was Phil Rizzuto. You know who Phil Rizzuto was? He was the broadcaster who broadcasted every Yankee game that I can remember when I was a young boy and a young man. And throughout his career, his passion for baseball made me have a passion for baseball. Because when he called a home run by a Yankee, he would say, "Holy cow! That's so-and-so hit a great home run." And throughout my life, I admired people who could speak, who could communicate very well. And that led me through my career pursuits, to embark upon that. Boy, I could just, in my mind, I could remember people giving good speeches like President Reagan and Vin Scully, who was another broadcaster for the Dodgers. These were great people who gave really good speeches. But one of the best people that I ever heard on a daily basis was a local broadcaster named Jim Jensen. He was a reporter and an anchorman on Channel 2 News. And every day when I saw him, I just admired the way he spoke when he presented the news. And that was one of the reasons why that drew me to communications. I studied media in college. I worked, my first career was in media. I was a journalist for a while, and then I worked for a company that, I worked for NBC News for a while, and I did some work for them. And then I got into teaching, and I learned, I have a love for history, and I communicated my love of history to my audiences, to my classes. And throughout all those things, what tied everything up was to communicate to people. When I was a reporter, I had to go to a local meeting at one of the government offices, one of the government meetings, and I would write my stories, and I'd interact with the politicians and talk to them, give in a conversational way, write my notes, and then write my story. And if you ever want to see full passion, go to a local board meeting, at your local borough hall, or your town hall. They're passionate.
Yeah.
Okay? As a teacher, I have to deal with communicating with students every day, like I'm doing right now in Nanuet High School. And I have to convey why they want to learn history. And on top of that, I'm mentoring a new teacher right now. And I'm helping him, and I'm conveying my experience to him on how to present the material to the class. Because when you have a room full of 9th graders whose attention span is very short, you have to capture their attention from the outset. And I'll tell you, Phil Rizzuto, I mean, you can't go wrong with him. When he said, "Holy cow," you knew what that was about. You knew that home run was going away, was going to go over the fence. But the easiest speech to hear, best delivered, is not easy in terms of how you prepare for it. It's just like writing an article. The easiest article to write when you're doing it in the writing process, when it's easy to read, it's a challenge to write it. Just read any book by Ernest Hemingway. Read any book by Ernest Hemingway. If you want to be a writer, when you read his books, you learn how to be a writer, because those books are well written and they're easy to read. But when he went through the process to write it, it was hard as anything. Okay, because when you either communicate, when you're up here at the lectern, or you're writing, It's the same process. You're creating. My editor at the newspaper I worked at years ago said that to me one time that writing was like being in a monastery. I said, why? He said, because it's you and the typewriter. Back then we had typewriters. Typewriter, and it's you and those words at the in front of you. And that's what you have to do, whether you're a speaker up here, or writing, or if you're a salesperson, or a teacher. You have to communicate what you believe, or what you want your audience to hear. And what I want to convey to you is this. There's a speech that was given last week that says you have to go past your comfort zone. You have to. If you want to be a communicator, and we don't do it because we're up here, you have to go through your comfort zone and take risks. Phil Rizzuto, or any other communicator, Jim Jensen, they started very humble beginnings, and they moved up, and they built upon one success after another, and that's what we're doing here. You want to be a communicator? I do too. You gotta go past your fear, and just do it. And that's what Toastmaster teaches you. Be a communicator. Take risks and go for it. Thank you.